In this course, we're going to take an in-depth look at the legato technique. We're going to cover more than 87 licks, that's 24 pages of tab, 4 backing tracks. We're also going to cover other techniques such as string skipping, economy picking and hybrid picking. So this is more than a licks package. This is a tutorial that will show you how to incorporate legato into your playing and be able to improvise freely with it all over the fretboard and apply it to any scale and any musical situation. So if you're ready to supercharge your legato playing, grab your guitar and I'll see you inside. Hi, Bobby here, and in this series of lessons we're going to take an in-depth look at the legato technique. Now this is a little bit more than a licks package. It's billed as 86 legato licks. There are in fact more than 86 licks. There are certainly variations of licks, but the idea behind this tutorial is to equip you with enough technique to be able to come up with your own legato phrases and eventually be able to improvise using the technique. Now, in musical terms, legato pretty much means tied together. So, you know, it's the opposite of staccato. Staccato is very, you know, kind of short and abrupt, every note picked. Legato would be more, you know, notes kind of seamlessly flowing into one another with minimal picking. That's not to say it's all hammer-ons and pull-offs. Legato, certainly modern legato, is a combination technique that takes in other techniques like hybrid picking, sweep picking, string skipping. So these are going to be kind of other kind of sub-techniques that we're going to incorporate along the way. If you look at the tab, a lot of the licks involve certain finger permutations. So we might have combinations of 6 notes on one string. I don't mean 6 fingers, but I mean 6 notes. Or we might have 5 notes on one string, 4 notes on one string. But it's when you start combining these permutations that you come up with some of your most interesting lines. There are obviously some leading legato players, you know, so many names spring to mind. But everyone seems to do it differently, you know, and it's not always about speed either. You can play a steady tempo using the legato technique and, you know, it can still sound very, very musical. Obviously, you might want a faster kind of burst of speed in your playing as well, but you don't necessarily have to go into this tutorial thinking it's all about blisteringly fast technique. It would be helpful if you are familiar with scales, certainly the C major scale all over the fretboard, whether that's using the cage system or the 3 note per string system. A lot of these ideas do lend themselves more to the 3 note per string system. Now, if any of this kind of fretboard knowledge is lost on you, then I do have a very in-depth tutorial called Master the Fretboard, which you'll find extremely helpful. But as I say, everything is going to be broken down into tab and standard notation, and you can apply these licks to any scale in any position. So you're not just going to get good at playing these licks at 158 BPM. There's certainly a lot more scope to it than that and a lot more potential than that. So let's get tuned up and we'll get started with the first lick. Incidentally, if you're wondering what this is behind me, this is just a stress ball in the shape of a bit of cheese.